Chapter 1. I woke up in someone else's life. When I first opened my eyes, I thought someone had switched on a bright lamp above my bed. But the ceiling I stared at wasn't mine, and the air smelled different. Too clean, like it belonged to someone richer than me. I pushed myself up, confused, and whispered, "Where am I?" My voice sounded normal, but the room wasn't. It had white curtains, a crystal lamp, and a mirror across from the bed. That mirror was the first thing that scared me. I saw a girl sitting on the bed, but she wasn't me. Her hair was long and silky, not short like mine. Her face was soft and pale, almost too perfect. I leaned closer and whispered, "This can't be real." But the girl in the reflection whispered with me. My heart pounded. I grabbed the edge of the dresser and stared at the mirror again, hoping it would change. Didn't. "Okay," I said slowly. "I'm someone else?" Saying it out loud made my stomach twist. A phone on the nightstand buzzed and made me jump. I picked it up with shaking hands. The lock screen showed a name, Lena Reborn. "So that's who I am now?" I murmured. My fingers unlocked the phone with a thumbprint that wasn't mine. Dozens of messages filled the screen. Long texts begging someone to talk to her. Messages like, "Please don't leave me and I'm sorry. I'll do anything." They made my chest tighten even though they weren't mine. Then I saw the last message she received. "Don't contact me again. I'm done pretending." It was from someone named Evan Hale. Pretending? What was he pretending about? I whispered. The message felt heavy, like it carried the last piece of Lena's pride. I scrolled up and saw months of messages from Lena and almost nothing from him. "Wow," I muttered. "You were really in love with the wrong guy. Or maybe he was using her." Either way, a dull ache spread in my chest that didn't belong to me but still hurt. Then I noticed another message thread, this time with someone named Mira. At first, the texts looked friendly, but when I scrolled further, I found screenshots of conversations Mira had forwarded to someone else. Screenshots that said things like, "Lena is so desperate. Evan hates her. I'm only friends with her because she buys me things." My jaw dropped. "Your best friend did this to you?" I muttered. I wasn't sure if the anger rising in me was my own or Lena's, but it felt real. Trying to calm myself, I walked to the window. The city outside was huge, high towers, bright streets, expensive cars. "Okay," I whispered. "This is not my world, but I have to survive here." The thought scared me more than the mirror. I didn't know who Lena talked to, who she trusted, or why her life was falling apart. But I knew one thing. I couldn't trust people who smiled at her before. There was a knock at the door. I froze. "Lena?" A woman called. "Are you awake? You have a fitting at noon." "A fitting? For what?" My mouth went dry. Yes. I'll be out soon." The woman walked away, but my heart stayed racing. I opened Lena's closet and nearly fell over. Rows of expensive dresses, shoes, bags, things I'd only seen in magazines. "You were rich." I asked the empty room. Then I checked the phone again. Lena's bank app told a different story. Almost empty. The fancy things were old. Her money was gone. "So your family lost everything," I whispered. "And that's when he dumped you." It made sense now. Evan Hale probably liked her more when she had status. And Mira? She probably loved watching her fall. For the first time since waking up, I felt a clear emotion, anger. Not panic, not fear. Just anger. "They used you," I said softly. "You trusted the wrong people." I sat on the edge of the bed, holding Lena's phone, and sighed. "I guess I'm you now. So what do I do?" I didn't know the rules of this world or the details of her life, but I knew one thing for sure. If I stayed quiet like she did, I'd get crushed. People like Evan and Mira didn't stop until their target broke completely. I wasn't going to let that happen. Not to me. Not to Lena. I whispered to the mirror, "I won't let anyone step on me." My reflection looked scared but determined. I touched the glass lightly, as if sealing a promise. If they want a weak girl to push around, they're going to be disappointed. The room felt less intimidating after that. I stood up straight, took a deep breath and said, "Fine, I'll live your life." but I'm doing it my way. Then the phone buzzed again. A new message popped up. From Mira. Don't forget the gala tonight. Evan will be there, don't embarrass yourself. I stared at the words until they blurred. A gala? Really? Already? My heart raced, but I forced myself to breathe. Okay, I whispered. If tonight is the night I meet them, then tonight is the night I start over. I put the phone down and smiled to myself. A small, shaky smile. Let's see what happens when they meet the new me. Chapter 2. He dumped me in front of everyone. By the time evening came, my nerves felt like thin wires ready to snap. I kept telling myself, it's just a gala. People attend these all the time. But my stomach didn't agree. The gown laid out on the bed was deep blue, elegant, and way too expensive looking for how I felt inside. I touched the fabric and whispered, Lena, what kind of life did you live? I put it on anyway. The moment I zipped the back, there was another knock. Lena, the car is waiting. The same woman from earlier called. Coming? I said, trying to sound calm. The car ride felt endless. I stared out the window, watching tall buildings pass by. Every second brought me closer to facing Evan and Mira. Two people who destroyed Lena's heart long before I got here. I whispered, you won't cry tonight. Not even once. When the car stopped, the driver opened my door. Bright lights hit my face. Reporters stood on both sides of a long red carpet. I froze. Don't worry, Miss Reborn, the driver said softly. They won't bother you much tonight. I laughed weakly. That's what scares me. The moment I stepped out, cameras clicked like crazy. Lena, over here. Lena, is it true Evan plans to make an announcement tonight? Are the breakup rumors real? I kept my eyes ahead and walked carefully, trying not to trip. Inside the hall, classical music played and crystal chandeliers glowed above everyone. People in fancy outfits turned to stare at me. Not with kindness, but with curiosity. Some whispered behind their hands. I pretended not to see. Then I heard it. Lena. My heart stopped. I turned. Evan Hale walked toward me with slow, confident steps. He looked perfect. Sharp suit, cold eyes, the kind of expression that made people want to impress him. But all I felt when I saw him was something bitter at the back of my throat. He didn't smile. He didn't even pretend to be polite. He stopped in front of me and lowered his voice. Why are you here? I blinked. I was invited. Then you should have declined, he said. Don't act like you know me tonight. My breath caught. I'm not acting at all. His jaw tightened, irritated that I didn't shrink away. Before he could reply, Mira appeared beside him, wearing a bright red dress and a fake sweet smile. Lena, you made it, she said. I didn't think you'd still come after, well, everything. I forced myself to smile back. Why wouldn't I come? It's just a party. She laughed softly. Sure, a party. Her eyes scanned me up and down like she was trying to search for weakness. Maybe the old Lena would have trembled, but I stood straight, even if my knees felt weak. A host tapped the microphone on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Evan Hale. Evan walked up the steps. My heart pounded in my ears. I whispered, don't do anything stupid. But I knew something bad was coming. Everyone looked at him, waiting. Thank you for being here tonight, Evan began. His voice was smooth, confident. I have an announcement. Some woman behind me whispered, is it about Lena? Another replied, I heard he's calling off their engagement. I clenched my fists. Evan continued, I want to clear up rumors about my relationship with Lena Reborn. He looked directly at me, not kindly, coldly. I will no longer be associated with her in any way. My stomach dropped. He kept talking. There were misunderstandings in the past. But I want everyone to know that I don't approve of her behavior, nor will I support it any longer. A painful heat shot up my chest. Her behavior? I whispered. What behavior? People around me murmured. Some took photos. Mira watched from the side with a tiny smile she tried to hide. Evan spoke again. I wish her well, but I hope everyone understands. Our engagement is over. The room filled with gasps. Chapter 3. The night I swore I'd never beg again. When I got back to the apartment, I didn't switch on the lights. I didn't want to see myself in the mirror again. Not after what happened at the gala. I kicked off the heels, sank to the floor and whispered, "So that's how they see me. A joke. A burden." My hands were still shaking. My heart still ached with a pain that didn't belong only to me. It belonged to the old Lena too. After a long minute, I forced myself to stand. "Enough," I whispered. "I need to know everything." I opened the drawer by the bed and found a small purple journal tucked inside. Lena's handwriting filled the pages. At first, the words were cheerful. "He looked at me today. Maybe he's starting to care. Mira says I should keep trying." But the more I read, the more my stomach twisted. Newer pages were full of apologies, excuses, and desperate hopes that Evan would love her someday. I whispered, "You gave everything to someone who gave you nothing." Then I reached the last written page. Lena's final entry. "I know he doesn't want me, but I can't stop loving him. I just wish I mattered to someone." The words blurred as my throat tightened. I closed the journal and pressed it against my chest. "You did matter," I whispered. "Just not to the right people." A loud buzzing made me jump. The phone lit up with another message from Mira. "Mira, you left so fast earlier. Are you okay?" I tried to help. I burst out laughing. It wasn't funny, but the message was such a lie that laughter was the only thing that came out. I typed back, "Don't pretend you care." Her reply came instantly. "Mira, wow, so dramatic. Mira, if you act like this, no one will want you." I stared at the screen, feeling something inside me snap. Not anger, not sadness. Something sharper, something stronger. I wrote, "Good. Then the wrong people can stay away." I blocked her. I blocked Evan too. Then I sat on the floor again. But this time it wasn't because I was weak. It was because my mind was racing. "I can't live like her," I whispered. "Begging, chasing, breaking." I looked at the journal. "I can't repeat her pain." I stood up and walked to the mirror. I stared at the unfamiliar face, wiped the smeared makeup and said, "I'm not her, and I don't have to live the way she did." My voice grew stronger. "I won't beg again. Not for love. Not for attention. Not for approval." I grabbed a trash bag and started cleaning the apartment. There were old gifts Lena had bought for Mira. I dumped them. Pictures of her clinging to Evan's arm gone. Pages of fake advice Mira gave her, telling her to be nicer, be quieter, be grateful. All got thrown away. With every item I tossed, I felt lighter, like the room was losing its ghosts. Then, under the couch, I found a folder with papers, business plans. Dozens of notes, diagrams, drafts, ideas Lena never submitted. Ideas that were smart, bold, and better than anything Mira or Evan had ever encouraged her to create. I whispered, "You wanted to build something." My fingers traced the edges of the papers. "So why didn't you?" The answer came from the journal, echoing in my mind. "I just wish I mattered to someone." She didn't try because she thought she wasn't enough. I placed the papers on the table. "You were more than enough," I said softly. "You just didn't know it." A strange warmth spread in my chest. Not sadness, not pity, but a fierce protectiveness. "If I'm in your body now, I'll live the life you couldn't." I took a deep breath. "I'm going to rise." Saying it aloud made the air shift. "I'm going to be stronger than you ever imagined." Then quietly, with a small smile, "And I don't need Evan or Mira to do it." My phone buzzed again, but I ignored it. I had already wasted enough energy on people who didn't deserve it. I gathered Lena's business plans and opened her laptop. The blank screen lit the room. For the first time since waking up in this world, I didn't feel lost. I felt ready. I looked at the mirror one last time and whispered, "Tonight, I end your old life." Then I added, "And tomorrow I start mine." Chapter 4. The billionaire who asked why I was crying. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the table, flipping through Lena's business plans again and again, memorizing every line, every scribbled idea. Some were brilliant, bold. Some were half-formed, but all of them had one thing in common. Lena never tried. She was too afraid, too desperate to please everyone else, too busy crying over Evan Hale. I whispered to myself, I won't make the same mistake. The next morning, I dragged myself to a small cafe Lena had apparently frequented. I needed money. I needed experience. I needed a start. I hadn't counted on what or who was waiting for me. I was wiping down a table when a shadow fell across my shoulder. I looked up. A man in a black suit sat at the corner table. His expression was calm, almost unnerving. He didn't smile. He didn't move at first. He just watched me. You look like someone stole your world, he said finally, his voice low, careful, but somehow cutting right through me. I blinked. Excuse me? He didn't answer immediately. He tilted his head, studying me like I was a puzzle he already knew the answer to. You're not okay. I can see it. I shook my head, trying to laugh it off. I'm fine. Really? He raised one eyebrow. You don't look fine. And I don't buy lies. Not from someone who cries in a corner while pretending to work. Something inside me stiffened. How did he know that? I swallowed hard and looked away. I'm Adrian Vale, he said, finally extending a hand. His presence was commanding, like he belonged to a different world than mine. And you are? I hesitated. I'm Lena Reborn, I said, because I had to. The truth was complicated, but I couldn't explain transmigration yet. Adrian leaned back, crossing one leg over the other. I see. Well, Lena, I don't usually approach strangers. But you, I don't know. There's something about you. I bristled. You mean I look like I'm about to cry? He smirked faintly. Maybe. Or maybe you look like you're hiding a fire you don't yet understand. I laughed bitterly, gripping the rag in my hands like it was a lifeline. A fire? Right. I'm barely keeping my life together. Adrian tilted his head, leaning closer. That's exactly why I'm here. You're small now, but you can grow. Most people would waste that chance, but not you. You just need someone to show you how. I froze. And you're volunteering for what? Charity? Call it investment, he said. His smile was faint but confident. In people. You have ideas, Lena. I can see them. You just need guidance. Stop hiding behind fear. Stop begging. Step into your own power. I stared at him. The words made my heart race, not because I trusted him, but because I felt. Finally. Like someone understood what I needed. The spark that had been simmering since last night, when I swore I wouldn't beg again, caught fire. I whispered, step into my own power. I want that. But I don't know if I can. He leaned back, taking a slow sip of coffee. Most people think they can't. That's why they fail. But power listens to the brave. The ones who try even when it scares them. You're one of those people, whether you know it yet or not. I felt my pulse quicken. And if I fail? Then you learn. You adjust. You rise again. Failure isn't the end. It's the proof you dared to act. I laughed softly, shaking my head. I can't believe I just met a billionaire giving me a pep talk in a cafe. Adrian's eyes twinkled faintly. I don't do pep talks. I do results. But sometimes results start with words. Don't they? I nodded slowly, looking down at the floor. My chest felt tight, but something inside me, the old fear, the hurt, the humiliation, began to shrink. I realized I could do this. I could rise. And I could do it without Evan Hale, without Mira, without anyone who had ever crushed Lena before. Fine, I said quietly. I want to learn. I want to be strong. He leaned back with a faint smile. Good. Then we start tomorrow. I have a few small things for you to tackle first. Nothing dangerous. Just tests to see how much fire you really have. I clenched my fists, feeling a thrill of anticipation. Tests? I can handle tests. Adrian nodded. We'll see. The cafe was suddenly too small, too quiet, too safe. I walked outside, letting the cold morning air hit my skin. My mind raced with possibilities, with ideas I could make real. I didn't feel afraid anymore. Fear was a tool now, something to sharpen me, not break me. I whispered to the empty street. Chapter 5. Learning to fight back. The next morning, I met Adrian at his office. A sleek, intimidating building that made my knees wobble. He didn't waste time. No introductions, no small talk. Today, he said, we see what you can do. Your first task, pitch an idea. I blinked. Pitch an idea? Yes, he said, tapping a tablet in front of me. Anything. I want to see if you can think under pressure. Convince someone to invest in you. You have 30 minutes. Go. I swallowed hard. My stomach tightened. Lena had never done this. I never had to do this in my old life. But something in Adrian's calm, unshakable presence made me want to try. I took a deep breath. Fine. I can do this. The investor room was cold, formal, intimidating. 3 men and 2 women sat behind a long table, eyes sharp, expressions unreadable. My hands shook as I set down my notes. Go ahead, one of them said. Cleared my throat. My name is Lena Reborn. I have an idea for a new platform that connects small creators directly with their audiences. No middlemen, no unfair cuts. My voice wavered at first, but I pushed through. It's simple, it's fair, and it can grow fast if given the right support. They leaned forward. One asked, what makes you think you can do this? I swallowed. Because I've studied the market. I've planned every step. And because I won't give up. I've seen what happens when people hesitate. I won't hesitate. The room was silent. Too silent. My heart pounded. My hands were shaking. Then, from the corner, I saw a familiar face, Mira. She stepped in like she belonged. Lena, she said sweetly, though her eyes were sharp. Are you really going to embarrass yourself with this little plan? My stomach sank, but I clenched my fists. No more hiding. I'm not here to impress you, I said. I'm here to succeed. And nothing you do can stop me. Her smile faltered, just slightly. Bold words for someone so inexperienced. I met her gaze evenly. Better bold than useless. The investors exchanged glances. One muttered to the other, she has fire. I continued my pitch, forgetting Mira for a moment. I explained the idea step by step, showing charts, potential growth, and examples. My confidence grew with every word. I wasn't Lena anymore. I was someone sharper, braver. When I finished, Adrian, who had been quietly watching, nodded slightly. Well done. One investor, a tall man with glasses, spoke. Your idea is solid. It has potential. I'll fund you, partly because you actually believe in it. I almost stumbled back. My hands were shaking, but now from excitement. You will. Yes, he said firmly. But don't waste this. Some people talk a lot. You clearly mean it. Myra's expression twisted into something ugly. She stormed out. I heard her whisper to an assistant. She'll regret this. I smiled faintly to myself. She'll see. She always sees. Too late. When I stepped out of the room, Adrian was waiting. Well? He asked. I did it, I said. I actually did it. He smirked faintly. Good. Now remember this feeling. This is what success feels like when you fight back. Never forget it. I nodded, taking a deep breath. The adrenaline still thrummed in my veins. I realized something important. I could fight. I could succeed. And I could do it without anyone's permission. Later, walking down the street, I heard whispers behind me. Some people were gossiping about Lena Reborn's new project, and how bold she is. I smiled faintly. The old Lena would have worried about what they thought. The new me didn't. But not everything was easy. Mira didn't give up. She started spreading rumors in the industry, calling my project fake, short-sighted, and stolen. Emails arrived, subtle sabotage attempts. I ignored most of it. But one thing was clear. To survive in this world, I had to be smarter than her. I whispered to myself, I can do this. I won't let her win. Not now. Not ever. Adrian called me later that night. You did well today, but this is only the beginning. They'll try to stop you. They'll try to hurt you. You need to stay sharp. I can handle it, I said quietly, but firmly. No, he corrected. You need to thrive while handling it. Don't just survive. Make them regret underestimating you. I grinned, feeling a surge of satisfaction. For the first time since waking up in Lena's body, I felt unstoppable. That night I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I didn't hide. I stayed at the desk, going through the business plans again, making notes, thinking about tomorrow. Tomorrow I would pitch again. Tomorrow I would grow stronger. And soon Mira and Evan would see that the girl they thought they broke was now something unstoppable. I whispered to the quiet apartment, "This is just the beginning, and I'm ready for whatever comes next." Chapter 6. Their lies started falling apart. The next few weeks were strange. I was no longer invisible, no longer the weak girl everyone expected. Every meeting, every pitch, every small victory sent ripples through the social circles that had once laughed at Lena. And everywhere I went, Myra's shadow lingered. It started with whispers. At first, subtle. I heard Lena Rivorton's project is fake. Didn't she copy that from someone else? I ignored them, let them talk, let them waste their breath. Words without power mean nothing. Then the emails came. One investor wrote, "We're reviewing your proposal carefully. Some concerns have arisen regarding originality." I smiled faintly, replying professionally, calmly, "I welcome your review. Transparency builds trust. Let me know if you have any questions." Mira must have expected me to panic. But I didn't. Not anymore. A week later, disaster struck her. Or rather, karma struck her. I was invited to a networking event when someone came rushing toward me. It was an assistant I barely knew. "Miss Rivorton, you need to see this." He handed me his phone. There it was, a recording leaked online. Myra's voice, whispering to an investor, "Don't fund her. She's useless. She's desperate. I'm helping him protect his investment from her nonsense." I stared at the screen, holding back laughter. Mira had been caught. And the best part? The investor she was whispering to had already forwarded the recording to other investors. "Oh, Mira," I whispered, "you're really bad at this." The next morning, the emails flooded in. Investors withdrew support from Myra's little schemes. Her reputation, carefully cultivated over years, crumbled overnight. She tried to spin excuses, tried to cry victim, but the evidence was clear. People started seeing her for what she was. And Evan wasn't far behind. One afternoon, I got a message from a reporter. "Evan Hale's company facing sudden investor pullouts. Any comments?" I laughed softly. "Seems like the universe is efficient." Curious, I called one of my contacts in the media. They whispered, "Evan's stock manipulation emails leaked. People are realizing he's less trustworthy than we thought." I leaned back in my chair, letting the words sink in. Felt surreal. The same people who had laughed at Lena, called her desperate, used her weakness to look strong. They were now the ones crumbling. I poured myself a cup of coffee and whispered, "This is what it feels like when they finally see reality, when the lies they built start collapsing." That night, I met Adrian at the cafe again. He didn't need to ask what happened. He already knew. "I saw," he said calmly. "You let them destroy themselves without touching them. That's impressive." I frowned. "It feels too easy. Did I do something wrong?" "No," he said. "You did exactly what the knew you should do. Observe. Let natural consequences work. You don't need to fight every battle directly. Sometimes the best revenge is staying alive and thriving while they crumble." I sipped my coffee, feeling a strange warmth in my chest. I thought about Evan's smug face, Myra's fake smiles, the gala, the humiliations. They were all gone. The power wasn't in my hands yet, but it was coming. Slowly, inexorably. A week later, Evan appeared. I didn't expect him, but he did. He stood at the doorway of my small office, looking smaller. He had that same proud posture, but the confidence had cracks. His eyes darted around, searching for signs of weakness in me. He started, voice hesitant. I heard dash. I raised a hand, cutting him off. "You heard. Good. Then you know. Don't bother trying to talk me into anything." I'm not Lena anymore. I'm not the girl you— Chapter 7. The day he begged me back. It started with a call. Evan Hale. My stomach twisted when I saw his name flash on Lena's phone. Though at this point, it felt more like my phone than hers. I debated ignoring it. Part of me wanted to, but curiosity won. I answered, "What do you want?" My voice was steady, calm, like ice. "Lena, wait. I need to explain." His voice sounded small, fragile. Not the arrogant, untouchable man I remembered from the gala. I raised an eyebrow. "Explain what? That you humiliated me? That you left me for someone who could flatter you better?" There was a pause. Then softer, I didn't realize. I thought." "You thought what?" I asked, leaning back. "That I'd be waiting for you? That I'd cry on your doorstep again? That I'd beg you to come back?" He hesitated. I didn't know how strong you were. I didn't realize what I lost until now." I laughed low, sharp, controlled. "You didn't know how strong I was? That's funny, because it took me less than a month to do what you and Mira couldn't stop." There was silence. I imagined him swallowing hard, realizing how small he looked now compared to me. "Your dash," he began, but his words faltered. I cut him off. "I'm not yours to call. I'm not Lena anymore. I'm me, and I'm standing taller than I ever was." His voice dropped. "Please, just listen. I made a mistake. I want to fix things." I felt a flash of old emotion. Anger, hurt, the sting of betrayal. But I swallowed it. I didn't need to scream, didn't need to cry. I wanted him to feel, even briefly, what it was like to lose someone he took for granted. "You made your choice," I said slowly. "You left me. You chose her over me, over us. I didn't mean it. No." I slammed my hand on the table, surprising even myself with the force. "Stop lying to yourself. You meant it. You wanted out. And now you see the cost. Too late." He was silent. I could hear it in his breathing, the weight of regret finally landing. He said softly, almost whispering. "I can make it right. I can dash." "You can't," I said firmly. "There's nothing you can do. I don't want apologies. I don't want excuses. And I certainly don't want you in my life." I could hear the panic in his tone. "Lena, please. I'll do anything. I'll give you everything, money, status, name it." I laughed, bitter, sharp, but full of control. "You think that will fix it? You think that can buy back respect, loyalty, or trust? You're pathetic. You always were." Another pause. Then quieter. "So, you don't want me?" I shook my head, as if he could see me. "No, I don't want you. Not now. Not ever." I hung up before he could protest. My chest was pounding. Not from fear, not from anger, but from the adrenaline of knowing I had finally drawn a line. I wasn't the girl who cried herself to sleep anymore. I was the girl who walked away. The girl who thrived while the people who betrayed her fell apart. A week later, I saw the headlines. Evan Hale loses major investors after attempted comeback fails. I smiled faintly. Myra's schemes had already crumbled. Now Evan's empire was shaking. And all I had done was live my life. I hadn't needed to fight. I hadn't needed to beg. The universe was doing its part. Adrian met me that afternoon at the cafe. He called. I nodded. Yes, he begged. And I told him no. And it felt amazing. He smirked. Good. That's the moment you start feeling real power. Not the money. Not the fame. Not the revenge. Power comes from control. Control over yourself and the people who tried to control you. I sipped my coffee, letting his words sink in. I get it now. I finally understand. Good. Now don't stop. Keep going. Every challenge they throw at you, every lie they spread, you meet it with strength, not desperation. I nodded. I can do that. I will do that. For the first time in weeks, I walked through the city without fear. People stared, whispered, admired, or envied me. I didn't care. This time, I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was walking for myself. That evening, I returned to the apartment, opened Lena's journal, and wrote a single line at the top of the blank page. I am mine now. No one else controls me. I closed it and whispered, tomorrow, I rise even higher, and by the time they realize it, I'll be untouchable. The phone buzzed again. Another investor. Another opportunity. Another chance to prove that I wasn't weak. I grinned, because I wasn't Lena anymore. I was me, and I was unstoppable. Chapter 8. The empire was mine. The morning sunlight poured through the office windows, warm but sharp, like it was daring me to rise even higher. I sipped my coffee and stared at the skyline. Lena's life had been small, cramped, full of fear. Mine wasn't. Mine would be infinite. Adrian appeared beside me, leaning casually against the doorway. Big day today, he said, eyes glinting. I smirked. The biggest yet. Myra's about to realize that reputation isn't a shield. It's fragile. He chuckled. She never did understand how much power silence and competence hold. I nodded, taking a deep breath. Today, I would show everyone who had ever doubted me that the new Lena me was untouchable. The boardroom was packed. Investors, partners, even a few reporters who had been following Evan and Myra's collapse. Whispers filled the air. Is she really going to do this alone? I heard her project is incredible. I stepped forward, chest high, head held straight. My voice didn't tremble. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. Today I will show you not just an idea but a vision. One that can change how creators and consumers interact forever. A few people leaned forward. Others whispered among themselves. I didn't care. I only cared about my words, my conviction, my fire. I laid out Lena's plans, every detail polished, every prediction backed by data. I anticipated questions, objections, concerns, and answered them with confidence, with clarity, with authority. Halfway through, I felt a presence. Mira. She walked in late, perfectly dressed, hair flawless. She gave a polite nod, but her eyes burned. You're here, I said calmly. Good. You get to watch. She smiled. Of course. Wouldn't miss it for the world. I ignored the sarcasm and kept going. By the end, the room erupted in applause. Investors were signing contracts on the spot. Offers came in from people I hadn't even met. My heart raced, not from fear, but from triumph. Afterward, Adrian leaned down. They see you now. You didn't just pitch. You conquered. I let out a soft laugh. It feels surreal. He smirked. Good. Let it sink in. This is what you're capable of when you stop waiting for permission. That evening, Mira called me. Her voice was tight, controlled, fake. Lena, I think we need to talk. I smiled, leaning back in my chair. About what? My success. Yes. Look, maybe I underestimated you. I didn't mean to. I cut her off. Stop. I don't want your apologies. I don't want your advice. I don't want anything from you. You had your chance and you failed. Her voice dropped. You don't understand. I was trying to protect. I laughed, low and cold. Protect? From what? From yourself? From realizing the truth? Mira, the world doesn't need your protection. It never did. It only needed me to rise. There was silence. Then a bitter whisper. You're unstoppable. I smiled faintly. Yes, and you're finally seeing it firsthand. I hung up before she could protest. The satisfaction was like a warm fire spreading through me. For months I had been building, learning, surviving. And now the empire was mine. Not just a project, not just a business, but a life. My life. I opened Lena's journal again and wrote a single line. I am no longer afraid. I am unstoppable. I am me. The phone buzzed again. Another investor, another opportunity, another chance to grow. I grinned. I had worked, fought, and endured. And now the rewards were here, tangible, undeniable. Outside, the city lights flickered. I looked at them and whispered, this is just the beginning. I've claimed what was once impossible. And I'll keep claiming more. In the distance, I imagined Mira staring at the headlines, watching her lies crumble, her schemes fail, her reputation destroyed. She had tried to stop me. She had tried to control me. She had failed spectacularly. Chapter 9. The Final Temptation. It started with a text. A single line that made my fingers freeze. I can fix everything. Just one chance. Please. Evan Hale. My stomach twisted. Part of me wanted to throw the phone across the room. Part of me wanted to laugh. But I didn't. Not yet. I sat back, letting the words sink in. The old Lena might have cried. The new me weighed her options. I whispered, "So this is it. The last move." Evan showed up that night, unannounced, at my office. His suit was impeccable, his hair perfect, but his aura smaller. Weary. Broken. He looked like a man carrying the weight of all the mistakes he'd made, some of which involved me. "Lena, please," he said, voice shaking. "I can make it right. I can undo what I've done." I stared at him. "Undo?" I repeated, my tone calm but sharp. "You think you can undo years of humiliation, betrayal, and lies with a single apology?" He swallowed. "I know it's not enough. I know I was wrong. I lost sight of what mattered." "You lost sight," I echoed, feeling the old pain flare up for a split second. "You chose to humiliate me. You chose her over me. And now you come crawling, expecting me to forgive you." He stepped closer, desperation creeping into every movement. I can't lose you. Not again. I'll do anything. Name it. I held up my hand, stopping him. My mind raced. The power I had felt for months, the control, the rise, the empire I had started building, clashed with a whisper of something old, something familiar. What if forgiveness could be a weapon too? I tilted my head. "Anything, huh?" I asked softly. "Even if it destroys you?" He blinked, confused. "Destroys me? No, I just want a chance. That's all. A chance to." I interrupted, my voice steady, controlled. "You think you deserve it. You don't. But I wonder something." He froze. "What?" I walked slowly around the desk, watching him closely. "If I did forgive you, if I did let you back into my life, would you be the man I need? Or the same weak, selfish one who ruined me?" He swallowed hard. I would change. I swear. I've changed." I raised an eyebrow. "You say that now. But what about when it's inconvenient? When you're challenged? When the world doesn't bend to your whims?" He hesitated, and I saw it, the crack, the truth. He hadn't changed. Not really. Not in the ways that mattered. I took a deep breath, feeling a strange clarity. "No, Evan. This isn't about revenge anymore. This is about survival and self-respect. I've learned that people don't change just because we want them to. They change when they face the consequences." His eyes widened, a mix of fear and desperation. "So, that's it? You're done?" I nodded. "I am done with you. Done with Mira. Done with anyone who underestimated me." For the first time, Evan looked small. Not because of the money I had or the empire I was building, but because of the person I had become. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't weak. I wasn't desperate. He dropped his gaze, defeated. I see." I softened slightly, letting a hint of empathy creep in. "And yet, I hope you learn from this. Not because I care about your pride, but because I care about what you could have been if you hadn't wasted so much time hurting others." He swallowed hard. I understand." I turned away, walking toward the window, letting the city lights wash over me. "Good. Learn it. Feel it. And maybe one day you'll respect the people you try to control. But it won't be me. Not ever." His shoulders slumped. He left without another word, and I felt no bitterness, only calm. It was over. Finally. Later that night, I sat in the quiet of my apartment, Lena's old journal open before me. I wrote slowly. "I've faced the last of them. I've resisted the temptation to forgive out of weakness. I've chosen myself. And I am free." I leaned back, closing my eyes. For the first time in years, I felt completely in control. Not of anyone else, just of myself. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every humiliation had forged me into someone unrecognizable from the weak girl who had once cried alone in her room. I whispered softly, almost to myself, I am unstoppable. I am untouchable. I am finally free. And outside, the world continued, unaware that one woman's quiet transformation had shifted the balance of power forever. Because I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. I was Lena. No, I was me. And nothing and no one would ever take that away. Chapter 10. The throne was mine. The morning air smelled of rain and possibility. The city stretched beneath me, glittering with lights, alive with movement. But it all felt smaller now. I wasn't small anymore. I wasn't weak. I wasn't Lena who had cried herself to sleep, begging for scraps of respect. I had built my empire, piece by piece, meeting every challenge with fire, wit, and patience. Every betrayal had been a stepping stone. Every heartbreak, a lesson. Every lie, a brick in the foundation of who I had become. And now it was time to see the last of my enemies crumble. Myra's humiliation. The gala was grander than I had imagined. Reporters, investors, nobles, all buzzing about the rumors and leaks that had followed Mira for weeks. I watched her from across the room. The perfect smile she wore looked brittle, like porcelain ready to shatter. She spotted me. Her eyes narrowed. You dash, she hissed under her breath. But no one around us could hear. I smiled faintly. Hello, Mira. Enjoying the show. Her face twitched. This isn't over. I sipped my champagne slowly. Oh, it's over. You just don't realize it yet. A reporter approached her, microphone extended. Ms. Mira, can you comment on the recent investor withdrawals? Mira faltered. It's complicated. Complicated. I interjected softly, leaning toward her. You made your choices. Now the world is watching. They can see exactly who you are. The microphone captured it all. Investors whispered, cameras clicked. Her empire was collapsing in real time. She looked at me, panic rising. You can't. I shrugged. I can't do anything. The world is just watching consequences happen. Funny how that works. Consolidating my empire. After Myra's public humiliation, my team worked tirelessly. Every investor who had once doubted me now signed contracts. Not out of fear, but respect. My name carried weight, power, influence. Adrian appeared at my office, leaning casually on the doorway. You've done it, he said, voice quiet. The empire is yours. I looked around the room, filled with contracts, blueprints, and team members I had trained myself. Not just mine, I corrected. Ours. This is the result of work, strategy, and surviving every betrayal. He smiled faintly, still impressive. You grew stronger than anyone could have imagined. I nodded. Stronger than anyone wanted me to be. Evan's final attempt. Just as I began to breathe, a familiar name appeared on my phone. Evan Hale. I didn't answer immediately. Months of hurt, humiliation, and betrayal flashed through my mind. But I knew one thing. This time I would not falter. The message read, I made mistakes. Let me make it right. Please. One last chance. I laughed softly. One last chance? He had lost every opportunity the moment he betrayed me. I typed back, no, you've had every chance. I am not your project. I am me. Goodbye. It was final, clean, and for the first time I felt complete. The moral victory. I stood on the balcony of my office that evening, looking out at the city lights. A soft breeze brushed against my face, carried no whispers of doubt, no fear, no betrayal, only possibility. I thought about every step, the humiliation, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the long nights learning, strategizing, fighting. And I realized the true power wasn't money or revenge or even influence. It was me. I had survived Evan's arrogance, Myra's schemes, and every obstacle thrown in my path. And I had emerged, not just unbroken, but stronger, smarter, unstoppable. I whispered to the night, I am free. I am powerful. I am finally mine. The last word. The next morning, Headlines blared across the city. Lena Reborn emerges as the most powerful young entrepreneur of the decade.